That's the date. Okay.
Wow, amazing. Welcome everyone. This is the March 2026 meeting of the City of Somerville Interim Climate Action Commission. Excuse me. I got all the words right. We usually start with some introductions. So why don't we go around the room? I'd like to just perhaps start with just the commissioners first, and then city staff, and then we'll just hear from everybody. So. I guess we'll just start. So I'm Larry Yu. I'm a commissioner. I chair the commission. I live here in Davis Square. I've been on the commission for 6, perhaps 7 years now. Well, I guess the previous version of this commission for 7 years now. And yeah, let's just keep it brief. So
Ask everyone to speak up. I'm a little hard of hearing, and that's really loud.
Yeah, that's so loud.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I can turn it off. All right. So, can you hear me?
Yeah.
My name's Ramon Bueno. I live in Ward 2 in the Brick Barn buildings. I've been a member of the pre-existing commission for, I don't know, about 10 years. My background was in aerospace engineering, but then later on in this computer information systems and then climate economic modeling.
Hi everyone, I'm Alexis Swashman. I'm also a commission member and the clerk currently, but thank you, Brittany, for volunteering this week. I live in Teal Square and I've been on the commission for over 2 years. I think it's 3 years. What do you think?
I think it's coming on 3.
Okay, almost 3 years.
And I'm Courtney Coslow, also an interim commissioner, started around the same time as Alexis did. I live in Square in Ward 5. And I develop large-scale multifamily affordable housing focused on kind of sustainable design.
Stephen?
I am Stephen Nutter. I'm Chief Sustainability Officer, the new Chief Sustainability Officer for the City of Somerville and Director of the Office of State and Environment. Lived in Winter Hill for 16 years now.
Technically, I think Jason would be next. Yes.
Hey folks, hi, this is Jason Behrens. I'm an innovation specialist based out of the curriculum department with Somerville Public Schools. I help support high school students who have been leading a lot of our climate change education work. And then also working with our curriculum team to identify ways to integrate more opportunities to learn about climate from pre-K to 12.
We couldn't hear you, Jason.
Sorry, Jason, we're just trying to get the volume up in here.
Jason, can you say hello again?
Sure, yeah, hi. Jason Behrens. I work at Somerville Public Schools. I'm based out of the curriculum office, and I work very closely with folks from the Office of Sustainability and Environment to deliver out-of-school time climate action clubs that are led by Somerville High School teenagers. That also then connects to the school day. We're working with curriculum leaders to identify and pilot a variety of climate change education initiatives.
Wonderful. You want to say hello and then we'll go to Elise?
Sounds good. Yes, hi everybody. I'm Kate Bossingham. I'm the environmental policy manager and also sustainability and environment, and I'm also the staff liaison for the Climate Action Commission.
And Elise?
Hi, all. I'm Elise Belarge. I am the Sustainability and Resiliency Planner in the Office of Sustainability and Environment. Excuse me. Sorry, I couldn't be there with you all tonight, but I'm a little under the weather, so I'm sparing you all.
Okay. And why don't we just go around the room? Do you want to start or we'll just come around?
Sure, yeah. I'm Isabel. I'm working on an application for the Climate Action Commission, so I just thought I'd stop by, see the work that you guys do. I graduated from college in Vermont a couple years ago, and I've been living in Spring Hill ever since then. Hey, I'm Shannon. I live here between Davis and Teal, like literally right across the street. I'm one of the Somerville, like I'm in the Somerville Climate Ambassadors Program right now. So I'm by. It's our homework, but I also just like. I'm gonna echo what Shannon said. My name is Alyssa. I live in Teal Square. I'm also a climate ambassador this year, so our homework was to come to a public meeting, and here we are.
Hi, I'm Rithika. I live between Davis and Bell Square, and I'm similarly interested in the commission, so I thought I'd see it work in action. And my background is in consulting, but I'm interested in climate sustainability. I've done some projects.
How do you spell your name?
Rithika, Ritika.
I guess that would be me. I'm Monty Allen. I have been following the Climate Forward program sort of from the sidelines ever since it started, and I've lived in Somerville for I think 12 years, and the thing that really persuaded my wife and me to move here was Somerville's public commitment to achieving climate neutrality by 2050, and I'd like to see that happen.
I'm Brandon. I worked with Cambridge to serve plant-based foods by people working with Cambridge for plant-based food and for work ties. Work on securing base systems and critical elements.
Hi, I'm Trevor Clark. I'm a scientist. I work in clean energy and transportation. And we have some folks online. Kate, I'll give you that.
Yes. So I'm gonna go through and allow people to unmute. So Alex, if you'd like to introduce yourself, go ahead. Alex Marston.
Hi there. I am also a part of the Climate Ambassador Program, and this looked like probably the most exciting meeting of the ones that we had to choose from, so I am glad to be here.
You said a high bar.
And then Eli, if you'd like to introduce yourself, Goldman. You also don't feel obligated. You don't have to introduce yourself as a member of the public. So if I hear a pause, then I'll keep moving. Okay. Eleanor, you'd like to introduce yourself?
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm also a member of the Climate Ambassadors Program, and really excited to hear more about the Climate Action Commission.
Great, thanks. Let's see, Hannah Hinken.
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Hannah Hankin. This is the first meeting I've joined, but I followed the Sustainaville newsletter for a while, and have focused on global climate solutions and scaling those. So interested in getting involved more locally. And I'm also part of the Teal Square neighborhood. I heard a lot of people were from there too. So that's great to, virtually meet some neighbors.
Great, thanks. Jacqueline?
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Pillatieri, and I live in Union Square. My first time joining a meeting, but I saw the call for Climate Action Commission. I'm super interested and excited. I'm very interested in green infrastructure and natural resources and using those for climate resilience. So excited to hear what all you talk about at these meetings.
Great, thanks. Callie?
Hi, hopefully you can hear me. My name is Callie Mingay. I'm also part of the Climate Ambassadors Program, but I did attend another public meeting, so But I am considering sending in an application for the Climate Commission. So just wanted to check it out as well.
Great, thanks. Karen?
Hi, I'm Karen Rankin, also a climate ambassador. Attended a few meetings a couple of years ago, but have been away for a while. And I'm kicking myself because I didn't realize there was an in-person option. I'm like around the corner, but looking forward to it. I have a background in environment and sustainability. So excited to hear what's happening.
Great, thanks. Olivia?
Hello, my name is Olivia Taylor. I'm also part of the Climate Ambassador Program, so happy to be here. Also work in clean energy, so yeah, excited to sit in on today's meeting.
Great, thanks. Sylvia?
Hi, my name is Sylvia Smolin. I'm a homeowner in Spring Hill. Professionally, I'm a physicist and I consult to clean tech startups. But I think the technology doesn't mean anything if we don't have policy that enables it. So I've been really interested in getting locally as a citizen.
Great, thanks. And Todd? Okay. I think that's everybody.
All right, well, thank you. This is the dream team here. Quick question, Courtney, would it be helpful for names if we pass a sign-up sheet around for people in the room?
Sure, yeah, I just took first names down.
Okay.
This group said first names, I didn't write their last names.
Yeah,
I could-
if you all don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
I actually don't have these patients, but sorry, I should have followed that. Oh, perfect. You don't need to mention. Just put it in. Probably should be asking emails and all of that, just put your name down if you wouldn't mind, if you're willing to share. So our first agenda item, the most exciting part of the meeting, I think, is passing the meeting minutes from the February meeting, which were distributed by email. You were correct. Does anyone need a minute to read them? Seeing no hands, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as submitted. Moved by Ramon, second from Alexis. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, motion passes unanimously. Great. Second's over. So is it Alicia for a specific? For the book club, great. Let's hand it over to Elise.
Great.
Amazing. Okay, hello everyone. It's great to be here with you all. So, I'll get into a little bit of the background of Sustainable Book Club and then sort of my ask for you all. So as the sustainability and resiliency planner, sort of the main functions of my role are to help or try to help mitigate flooding in the city, reduce the impacts of extreme heat, and then also build community resilience. And one of the ways that I'm hoping to build community resilience and, foster a greater sense of connection and community in Somerville amongst residents and other community members, I thought was a book club. I personally love to read, and I've heard some folks say that they've been curious about a sustainability related book club. And so part of my goal with this is not only to connect more with residents and help them to connect with each other, but also connect more and create strengthened relationships with community-based organizations through a shared love of reading, essentially. And so the goal of the book club is to meet every other month, and I would coordinate the book as well as the organization we would work with, or the CBO we would work with. And we'd read a book sort of related to what they do and post it to the community and meet at the libraries and coordinate with the libraries to get extra copies of these books so folks can borrow them and read them and not have to worry about paying for them. My goal is also not to pick devastating books. A lot of books about climate are pretty depressing. And so part of my goal is to to bring hope to people and show that there are opportunities to make change or to help educate community on maybe successful case studies or things like that. And so this is something that I'm hoping won't be a real downer and a bummer. There's also opportunities. I've talked with the library a couple months ago to work with other municipalities if we wanted to do something bigger and get more popular books and maybe an author in. So this hasn't started yet. They're sort of like planting the seed for a pretty big dream of what book clubs could become. But I thought, what better way to kick off book club than to meet during Sustainability Week, which is the first week in May, and to partner with you all, the ICAC, for this first book and this first book club during Sustainability Week. If this is something that all or any of you are interested in, I could provide more details. I'd love to chat. I have some ideas already for books for this first book club meeting. And I know that you all probably read so many books related to climate, and so we could really get into it this meeting, but I know you have a lot on the agenda. And so if you are interested, I'd love for you to reach out to me, or you can discuss now or later. And then we can sort of go through some of the planning and going over book ideas and things like that. I guess, are there any questions about all of this?
Good questions. Sounds amazing. So the fan just kicked in here, so getting noisy. Lisa, you're anticipating an in-person book club, is that right? So in the library?
Yeah, the goal is to meet in person. I guess if it got like really huge and a lot of people had expressed wanting to do something hybrid, we could manage that.
So what's the timeline for each book? For a month or more?
Well, one hasn't been fully selected just yet. I have a couple ideas, but I didn't want to get bogged down in the details of book selection just yet in this meeting, just because I know you guys have a tight agenda, and I feel like I always come here with some like pretty big ideas.
Awesome.
It's exciting. Love it.
Right. Anybody raise your hand if you have questions, comments on this? And anyone online as well, at any point, just raise your hand if you have a question or comment. Hannah.
Yeah, I just wanted to flag that I've heard of a let's see, Sustaining Community, a climate change book group run by the Cambridge Public Library. I haven't attended any of their things, but perhaps there's a possibility to combine efforts if you weren't already in conversation with them.
That's really good to know. Thanks for bringing that up, Hannah.
What did you say it was called?
It's called, let's see,
Okay.
Sustaining Community, a climate change book group organized by the Cambridge Public Library.
Making competition.
Yeah.
Read more books than that.
Better snacks.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's a great idea and the perfect extension of the Massill's agenda, I think. So it adds to the outreach that it just migrated and expanding. So great idea.
I think remote is just giving all the ambassadors another sorry.
Well, I guess I should say, Ramon, that this isn't associated with an ambassadors. Like I think it's a great tie-in because I'm not an ambassador, so it's not an ambassador project. But I guess maybe I should be more specific in saying I ask is like, are any ICAC members interested in being involved in like picking the first book with me and then also facilitating some of those conversations that might happen, excuse me, during the book club in that first week of May. I think I have to confirm the exact date with Naomi because I know that the Sustainability Week schedule is not public just yet. So I don't want to say a date here and then be wrong about it. Also understanding like public meeting law, and I don't know that you all could be a part of it because if you're all like emailing on the same chain if there's some problem with that. I don't know. Kate, you tell me, I guess.
I can look into it at least.
Okay.
We're not supposed to discuss matters before the commission, so
Got it.
I'm
Okay.
not sure if book club counts as. I guess we're talking about. Courtney?
Elise, this is Courtney. I'd be happy, I have some ideas for books I'd love to share. So I'll reach out to you about it and happy to be a part of that.
Amazing. Thank you, Courtney.
Time, but hopefully I can help where I can.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm in a similar spot. I have some ideas of some of the authors even who might be, should, having the authors even come in and talk. So, and I don't know what my schedule looks like, end of April, beginning of May, so. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Larry.
Okay. All right, thanks, Elise.
Awesome. Thanks all. Have a good night.
Be well. Cool, that's exciting. Next item on our agenda is to talk about the open position for the Climate Action Commission, open positions for the Climate Action Commission, and perhaps discuss where we are in the approval process, and then let's roll into a discussion about outreach. So,
Yeah.
yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so I think it sounds like everybody's probably aware, but just so everyone's on the same page, we are looking to kick off the Somerville Climate Action Commission. Currently, everyone who's on the commission is part of the Interim Climate Action Commission because there was a ordinance passed last year that kind of changed the body, expanded the scope of the commission, and based on that, like, everyone who's currently like an interim member was a part of that like previous version of the commission that was called the Commission on Energy Use and Climate Change.
Yeah.
The CEUCC. And so all of those members are now just interim members for the commission. And now that we have gone officially live looking for applications for the Climate Action Commission, everyone who's on the commission, if they're interested, will reapply, and we're also expanding it. So there's going to be lots of open spots. And yeah, so that open notice went out February 18th. So it's been open for a bit, and we're going to be accepting applications until April 3rd. So if you have any, April 3rd, yeah. If you have any questions about the application process, I'm the contact for that, but there was like an announcement that went out from the city of Somerville. There's like a press release. The application's kind of like a online form with a statement of interest and like an optional resume. But yeah, I'm really excited that there's so many people that are interested in it. Glad you're all here, and please continue to spread the word. That's where we are right now.
Do you have a sense for how many applicants we have?
We have 9 applications in so far. I know a lot of people apply a lot closer to, the deadline. So I'm not taking that as like a high point by any means, but we have 9 applications in.
And could you remind us how many positions there will be on the new commission?
Yeah, so the ordinance says that there has to be at least 5 people on the new commission, and there can be up to 13. So you need 5 to kind of like make quorum, and like you can't have a meeting unless you have quorum. And then 13 is the maximum. And there's also like, you'll see in the announcement and the ordinance, if you want to read that too, like some kind of like diverse representation that we're looking for too. So there's also like looking for a business owner or someone who does business in Somerville. We're encouraging representation like geographically across the city, so trying to get people from every ward as well. Renters, homeowners, just kind of a few different views. Yes, thank you. I was forgetting something important. So like we have a youth category that's like high school aged and then kind of college aged, as well as a senior position. So we're kind of really looking for like a breadth of folks who apply. So
when will you make the final decision about?
The selection process is still a little bit like up in the air. I think the new mayoral administration that came in is doing kind of a process to standardize like the selection and appointment process for commissions. And so they're working on that right now. And once we have that information, they'll be able to use it to like make selections and appointments. But hopefully not too long after the beginning of April.
Yeah, we definitely want to get the commission, set up and running and with, 77 actions to work on here. And the commission is key part of that. So we definitely encourage every single person who's listening now online or here to apply. You're all here already, so you take the first step. So just go ahead and apply. See what happens.
As a reminder, current commissioners do not roll over automatically, so you also need to apply. To remind you. Yes. Which I just did today, I think, so. It's a resume. My resume, long time.
The resume's optional.
Any other questions just on the position, and then we'll talk about outreach. No, everybody gets it? All right, sounds good. You have an outreach, we have an outreach plan. And OSC's name is against most of these things, but where, well, tell me how it's going and, where in particular do you think you need some additional help?
Yeah, can I look over your
Yes.
filter on this a little bit? So, attached to the meeting invite, there was a document that's kind of like a beginnings of an outreach plan here, and we kind of tried to separate it into some of the target audiences that we're trying to reach out to. So there's like youth, older adults, specific zip codes, business owners, renters, homeowners. I think in terms of what OSC has been up to, the Sustainability newsletter went out today for the month of March, and so the openings were highlighted in that. I think we have a really wide reach with that newsletter. I printed out a bunch of flyers, and I have intentions to go out to a lot of the squares in Somerville and hang up flyers to hopefully reach some people who aren't part of our like listservs. We reached out to the city councilors through the intergovernmental affairs officers and intergovernmental affairs office in the city to ask them to include the announcement in their newsletters. So I think the city councilors have audiences that aren't like kind of within their ward that is separate from like who gets the city of some of those press releases. So yeah, and we've done social media posts as well. Yeah, I think would love some discussion about I think geographic spread might be a big thing for us, as well as like business owners. Yeah.
Is this outreach specifically for this job posting, or
Yes.
that's all I'm talking?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Should we,
Eliza, do you want to introduce yourself?
So sorry I'm late. Eliza Johnston, Commissioner, Davis Square.
That's fine,
Yes.
yeah.
Sorry again, for late.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think like the areas where I foresee like some challenges getting the diversity we'd like is zip codes, business owners, and then would love to talk, Jason, maybe a little bit about youth outreach.
Well, I mean, the schools in general are a great cross-section of community, so a lot of the schools have those little boxes near the principal's office, and you can put flyers in there, but you need to contact the PTA. At least in the school I'm familiar with most, but they also will slip it into the newsletters, the electronic newsletters that go out weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, depending on the school. So I'd be happy to, they'll request that they are digital in 4 languages, the sort of standard 4 languages, but then I'm happy to send them to the PTA representatives since I work with them a lot. If that would be helpful.
Eliza, I think that like at our school, the more software automatically translates.
Yes, but some schools want it in 4 languages as a PDF.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that is true.
It's funny because we're all has worked as diverse languages and. Right.
Yes. They put them on their Google Drives, because some families connect with them for the Google Drive. They don't open the newsletter. I don't know. That's what I've been told. When we do soccer outreach, they want the 4 languages, so I'm assuming the same thing, but that would be another way to catch people that aren't like already reading the sustainable newsletter and might, just happen to see it.
Sure.
Great.
Yep.
I work closely with the Office of Sustainability at Tufts. I'm happy to send to them to send it out in their newsletter. If that's something you don't already have a connection to.
That'd be great.
That would be great to do.
Maybe I could grab your email and I could send you a digital version. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. I mean, Tina Wilson, I can reach out to her as well. See. What's this?
I was gonna ask, is it possible to advertise the position with other commissions, recognizing that some have a lot of participation on a regular basis, and so there might be members of other commissions, but then also members of the public attending those meetings who might be interested but haven't connected with sustainability efforts yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
No, I was gonna say, I personally, have been posting it in a few forums in LinkedIn. And, and make clear this is for Somerville, so a lot of people look at it, but to the degree that people may know people in Somerville, say, hey, have you seen this or that? So that I encourage people to use forums like that. Also, religious organizations, that have, be able to put it on some, temple, that is group link. A couple of Spanish and Latino organizations that have in some of the send them Spanish version. So, but I think just touching as many angles as you can, the best I can do it.
I am meeting with some of those guys together next week, which is a labor centric organizing group. So I will. I've already put the word out on a list or anybody who's on that position, so I don't know.
What are they calling in some of the?
Stands together. I can, I see you have a couple other community groups listed here. I can reach out to some of them. Actually, do you know who's leading Mothers Up Front? Who's chairing that now?
I think so, yeah. It's either Jess or, I mean, I can send it to the core group, yeah. It's Jess.
Okay.
To which group?
Mothers Up Front.
Do we know, has it been sent to all the various sustainability related lists? Like, I think it might have gone out, there's and these are, if anybody's interested in these, there's Electrify Somerville, there's like carbon, there's a bunch of different groups. I sent it.
Went out on Electrify Somerville.
It went out there. I saw it one place.
Yeah.
But open Somerville.
Oh, I forgot to do an open something.
Okay.
I'll do a review of all Google groups. and see which ones.
If anyone has, I think especially business owners, I mean, I don't know, I just haven't seen any applications come in yet, from people who say they, own or do business in Somerville, which is the language that's in the ordinance, and we need someone on the commission to, it's a requirement of the ordinance, so.
What do you mean by do business? It's like they're employed by an organization based in Somerville? Because I've seen there's Form Energy in Union Square. I know someone who works at that company. I don't know if they need specifically because they don't live in Somerville, but if it's that broad, then.
I think it is that broad.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are, so.
Yeah, then there's still a lot of people who are very passionate about use of,
Yeah, we can probably get it posted at Greentown.
That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah, the posters are up.
Yeah, I'm sure we all know somebody to against. If there's some internal listservs, it's there, so.
Good idea.
I think there were some internal listservs in Greentown as well, so we all know folks who work there and get the word out. So. I think that's on all I want to do soon. The two main streets, have you reached out to them?
Yeah.
Okay. I can reach out to Union Square. Don't know anyone in Somerville. Does anyone know anyone at Somerville Main Streets or D is now?
We can do that.
Yeah, but they do put out a newsletter, so not only internally, but also to a pretty broad, like resident base that I think more eyes.
Yeah. I can reach out to Davis Square Business Association. There's some one-on-one outreach if anyone knows folks who are doing business in something on this.
Is there a citywide list of logomats?
Google could tell you, that's very smart.
So just a different angle.
Yeah, they Google would have to tell you, but yeah. Yeah.
Naomi Gross, who's the community engagement specialist in OSC, she does have a like a Google Maps list of all, like a bunch of billboard locations. So I don't know, I haven't looked at it closely enough to see if there's laundromats on there, but that's on my to-do, is to like walk through all the squares and paint flyers.
Well, I was thinking like WeWork space, like, you know, how we have one in Davis, that Larry and I sometimes, like, we have a couple of like WeWork look, or, you know, like flexible workspaces. It'd be good to post it there, because to your point, like, those are people who are working in Somerville, maybe they're not, you know, a business owner, but that would be interesting cross section.
Yeah, that's a good idea. There's two now, right? They have
Spaces, and then also, the Regis, yeah.
It might be one in Union also, I'm sure.
Sorry, coffee shops also often have evening billboards.
Yeah. Those are definitely gonna be on the.
Yeah, JP Lift's board, I mean, come on. I want someone who loves ice cream.
Sylvia.
Thanks. So I do co-working at Boston Figurative Arts Center in Union Square, and that might be a place to share information.
That's amazing. Is the flyer is available online?
Yeah, so if you got here through the City of Somerville like calendar, there's along with the meeting agenda, there's a digital copy of the flyer. So if you want to download it and print it, or just send it to people, that's probably the best way to do it.
Chamber of Commerce. Anybody know about the chamber? Yeah.
Is it very active?
Used to be.
Sweet, okay.
Yeah. It used to be a Somerville of the first, but that's.
Right, yeah.
Any other thoughts? Renters in particular as well? That was something that we were very conscious of. We were kind of owner centric. Coffee cups.
Yeah. I was thinking, we work spaces, right? You choose a small space, you maybe work.
True.
Or libraries.
What is the sustainability? Ones that go out to?
Yeah.
Everybody?
You have to sign up. You sign up for it, but it does have a pretty broad reach.
That's already been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Do you know how big that list is? We probably don't.
I heard recently, I want to say it's like at least 500 people. I don't know off the top of my head, that could be wrong.
I saw CAS and SEC listed here. Perhaps those are good outlets as well.
Yeah. Yeah, does anybody, we probably can figure out contacts for those.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you, I don't know if this is spamming, but can you send it to the compost pilot participants, and that's be Somerville, and I assume also a lot of renters as well?
Yeah, I don't know if we'd be able to do that, just because I think like when we collected their contact information, it wasn't for like city communications outside of the pilot program, but yeah.
At the same
Appreciate
time,
that,
I was
yeah.
like, you signed up for, 100% green energy, we just slip it in here. Mailing. I don't know, maybe the YMCA would post it, they have also like a community board at the Y. Happy to drop it off there.
Thoughts? Any suggestions? I think this is for everybody, right? So anybody can help get the word out.
I'll add something. This is Jason.
Sure.
We're a couple of weeks out from launching our after-school climate clubs. They'll be at um, almost all of the SPS K-8 schools, and that could be a task. We just tell the kiddos who are in those clubs, like, bring this home, talk about it with your family, talk about it with your classmates. We're hoping these clubs can be a conduit, like into the school day, into the backpack, into the home or where folks are staying. So um, I would, you know, maybe challenge is a too strong of a word, but like I hope that the commission and commissioners keep that in mind, that we have these clubs that are just about to start, and there's just so many different entry points, whether it's coming in as a guest speaker, sharing information about the book club, the commission itself, and that, Emily and Naomi from the OSC are working very closely with those teens and with the teachers. And so it could be a really great sort of venue for all kinds of things that come from the commission.
Great idea. Yeah.
Hannah, do you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a suggestion. I hope we get way more interest than there's room for on the commission, but it could be great to kind of take advantage of that excitement and energy and point people who aren't accepted in a different direction for volunteering or other climate engagement. And so maybe part of the process can be like gathering additional opportunities for those who aren't selected. And maybe you already have that in mind.
Great idea. And what's our target? What did Cambridge do? 70 something?
I was previously, before this job, I was on the Cambridge Climate Committee and we got 73 applications.
Yeah.
A similar number of seats.
Yeah, not that I'm competitive.
I was gonna say, so the challenge is beat Cambridge. I think not 75.
So 75.
Yeah.
Sorry, Courtney, you have your hand up.
Oh, I was going to Jason's point, is that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Jason, isn't it all the schools and is Winter Hill one of them? I thought you said it was, but it wasn't on the list.
Yes, Winter Hill is part of this. Winter Hill, Argenziano, and East were all part of the pilot last year. We're returning to those sites and expanding to the Healy and Kennedy. And next year we'll have West and Brown. At least that's settled.
I'm not sure that made it on the club list that went out. We want to double check. I could look too.
It's possible that it didn't. This particular project is sort of operating at a different pace than when those grids get published. There's just not so much a learning curve, but like when you have something that is often youth led, you have to be able to build in the flex time to slow things down, or we've had funding issues come up for reasons I won't get into, but basically like our clubs have to happen sort of when they happen. We had targeted early March, but we're starting them a little later. And so, the hope for next year in September, when those initial like year-long grids get published, or at least for that first semester, and previewing these kinds of opportunities for parents way ahead of time. Because, we'll push the word out this week and say, hey, this pilot is expanding year 2. Here's a couple of weeks to think about it. And here are some opportunities. Here are the teachers who are going to run it, that sort of thing. So if you're not seeing it, it's likely because of that. With this kind of pilot, like we're not a provider who's kind of ready to go and just can operate right in the school. We're building this like from scratch with teens really running the show. And so, we just have to slow down. So, which is really great. And again, an opportunity for many of you all to participate in some way. And I think maybe what I need to do is just like prepare some sort of interest form and share it with folks here. I don't know if that would if that works for folks. But like, I think because I brought it up, but if I'm not sending you anything to actually do any sort of intake, then we're just talking. So I will, for the next meeting for sure, have that ready to go, in case, if not before. So sorry for going off on a tangent.
It may be that there's another club with a similar name called Environmental Leadership Program at Healy and East.
Oh,
That was
interesting.
advertised with the district's newsletter that went out last week. Had a link to other school time clubs for March that had a enrollment last week.
Oh, good. I mean, that's not the title we're using, but I'm glad if
I
that
don't
is
know
in
if
fact
that's I'm wondering if
it,
it's a separate club.
it
Because
could
it
be.
says help students enjoy time outdoors and off their devices, so.
Oh, that sounds like a different club altogether, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you guys can look into that, offline.
Yeah, but just thinking about how this gets advertised, it sounds like he's working through some. Coaches.
Just got one more quick idea for like the small business owner, if you guys thought about like banks. As like a place that people would go for loans or like to meet their bank manager or something like that. It's like if they're really hard to reach. I think there are a lot of like established banking chains in Big America, but also like community banks. Just you don't get people maybe like that's someplace we will still go.
Yeah, some banks have community groups still. Yeah, okay, it's a good idea. Any final thoughts on outreach? Actually, any particular things that you were looking for input on or help on that we're gonna talk about?
No, this is great. I'll probably follow up after I get the meeting minutes with some people, on some of these items, but, yeah, no, just anything you think of, feel free to reach out to me and, appreciate you supporting me.
Excellent. Well, we are going to reserve some time here for to talk about the Somerville Climate Forward goals and strategies and what we're looking at for this coming year. This is the exciting part, actually, right? So, I think Stephen, you were going to do this for I don't know. We were talking about maybe 25 minutes of this. I know we wanted to just leave 15 minutes, just like an open Q&A for folks to ask questions about the CAC. So maybe we can try out towards this at 8:15 and switch to that.
Well, so just to clarify, I'm not gonna talk for 25 minutes.
Okay.
So who's read the time before?
Yeah.
Who's participated in helping make you the time before clear? Awesome, well, thanks for being here. So the climate forward plan is our citywide plan. We got it in 2024. It's 77 different actions broken across 5 different. I've been here for close to 3 weeks, so it's broken across I think five different areas. And they're really cross-cutting, and it was one of the reasons that we thought this commission in one ways, because it's not just decarbonization of buildings and those sorts of things. It really comes across into resiliency. See, it's very nicely laid out and designed, very clear, and it's not like a one-year plan either, too. It's a multi-year plan. If you go to the city's website, you'll see our dashboard, you'll see our progress on each piece. Some of them, I think, say redevelopment. It's one of the words we know about it. We're gonna get it on our work plan. It's also not a work plan, right? It's a strategic plan. It's not like, we're hiring 77 people to work on each one of those different, actions. It's really the goals that the community has come together, say, these are the things that are the priorities. And then, we're basically doing what we can, within our own capacity as an organization, but then our own capacity as a city government and our own capacity as a community. This is all nested inside each other, right? And so we're working on those things. Some of the specific goals and things, of course, require, different amounts of funding that we can only access when a specific grant, program comes about, or maybe something a developer is doing, or maybe another department has, funding for, or however it may be, right? And so, but a lot of the pieces don't necessarily require funding. And I think that the biggest thing that I find is like, we could do all 77 actions, every municipality could do all 77 actions. Would we be sustainable at that point? Maybe, definitely we would make a lot of changes. But I think our goal here is some kind of, it's 77 things to sort of wrap ourselves around, because we're really talking about generational culture change of how we like interact with each other, how we interact with the world, how we view our systems, and how we rethink our operations within the city to act as a model of things. And that includes everything from schools to mobility to forestry to how we're prioritizing giving assistance and support to really everybody. And so there's things like residential decarbonization is a really good example. There's a lot of houses in Somerville, Cambridge, sort of all around the metro area that, like, in order to invest to get into that gold standard of what you might think of as like the most sustainable house with like full water insulation and brand new windows and completely permeable surfaces and trees and solar panels and all those things, right? To get there would be like so much of an investment, and that's really only available to like a few people who were able to do that, right? But so our goal really is to prioritize sort of the most needed actions, and then also the ones that are really benefiting those who are most burdened in our community, who may not have access to these various things. But the thing that I'm always trying to stress too is that like our way out of climate change is not necessarily buying things. That's sort of one action. It's not necessarily to buy things. Like it's not necessarily like get an electric car and put solar panels on your roof and those sorts of things. There's multiple things we can do. There's definitely a lot of actions. I like to put it into like the into the frame of like human health, right? Like there's things that we need to go to the emergency room for, because they're like we need to gotta stop it. And to me, those things are like emissions, right? But then there's all the other things that give you wellness and sort of make your life like better. And to me, those things are like a lot of the resiliency. So it's like it's being involved in community garden, it's showing up through your neighbors. It's just it's being able to sort of bike around, sort of all these different pieces. It's ensuring that the next generation, that we're also building a pipeline for the next generation of climate leaders. There's whole sections in here about economic development, workforce development. That we haven't, it's definitely like in our wheelhouse and definitely within our visions, but we haven't really put like a lot of time into that. It's because we have been, even the meeting with this commission before, there's so much focus on emissions, and that's really awesome. But the world is changing. We have some really challenging federal funding issues out there. We also, at this current moment, we have an administration that has really kind of looked at the climate work more holistically than the previous administrations have, at least in the public realm. I know that previous administrations did it, maybe not with such giving everything a brand new name. But in general, I think that the biggest thing that I want to sort of have this discussion about is that this is a community climate action plan. This is not, the Office of Sustainability and Environment's climate action plan. It's not the City of Somerville's climate action plan. It is the community climate action plan. And so this commission one of your roles is to help enact this and help give us priorities for all of these different points. Because we can't do it all at once, but we can at least plan it out and sort of give it, time. Which we have, and we have a lot of grace here. This is an amazing document in terms of like having a strategic plan. But we are working, I think every municipality is working to try to understand how to like really completely operationalize that across the board. And so by joining the commission, we can really help guide that work, both internally but also externally. Because I think the other thing is that we're all here, I go out and say that we might classify ourselves as climate people or environmental people or whatever, what you want to put yourself into. But in order for us to get to the climate future that we really want, it's gonna take all 80,000 people in some way across the whole city. That's the way that we're gonna find an equitable future in this change. So that's what I have to say about that, and I really want to open it up and have longer discussions, and also if there's specific things that people want to discuss, like a part of this specific kind of thing too.
Alexis, that's all you're hearing.
Pass around the.
You sure can, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
want a printed copy. I think we have some.
Yeah, maybe I'll also do a little.
We have both found in two different ways.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
you can clarify, I think I understood, you said the role of this commission is to help prioritize the actions outlined in this plan and start working on them?
Yeah, I can clarify that. So one of the roles of this commission is to help assist Somerville get to the place, to get to these.
You say Somerville, you mean the city?
The city of Somerville, as in like. The
80,000 people, like the.
80,000 people.
Stephen, can you speak up just a little?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's the fan.
It's the thing.
But I think I'm at a very similar frequency to the fan. Yeah, so that's one of the roles of this commission. It's not that we're gonna give you an action and say, all right, this is your action for the year. I mean, unless you want to take on one, then that's perfectly fine. But the role of this commission is to help provide a resident's view of how we can prioritize this work. And also if there's things that are missing, or if there's things that are over prioritized, or whatever it may be. This is also, I think one of the things that we heard, and I've heard both in both Cambridge and Somerville, is that we have a lot of really good plans, like some amazing plans. We know how to plan. We know how to make really good books, and they're really thoughtful, and everything in there is valid. And we take a lot of we're beginning to take a lot of actions on those things, but we want to take a lot more and just use this as a baseline for us to move forward. That makes sense?
I think so. It's a little ambiguous who us and we are, but I think you just mean everybody.
When I
It's
say-
switched from small C city to big C city.
When I say us and we, I'm really speaking as like we as a community member, and we as a community. Because that's this, in my view, the city of Somerville used their authority as a municipality that we all live in to spend money to actually create this document. But what is in this document is as reflective as we could at the time of the goals and values of the community. And so implementing it is in part the whole community getting involved, or at least buying in, or at least knowing about it, like whatever level of depth we want to go in on that. And then the staff in our department are there to help push those things along. It's like, this is literally our job. We show up every day to do this work.
Yeah, Alexis.
I would kind of characterize it, I think you did a good job, Stephen, saying that it's a strategic plan, so it talks about the different strategies and things like that. Oftentimes, the focus of the commission is around like operationalizing some of that, and so we had, a couple of meetings where, we discussed the composting pilot that's happening in East Somerville. And so, we provided ideas, recommendations, the staff at OC obviously was leading the implementation of that, sourcing the vendor, who's going to, do the composting pickup, but we can say, oh, this would be a really great outreach strategy, or, include this other information, or prioritize, these type of, in-home collection buckets, because we use these other ones and they're really, bad and like a lot of pests and things like that. So that's a specific example of something that we've had discussion on as a commission, providing those recommendations and ideas to the city, meeting the OSC staff, and then they choose, to implement in terms of what makes sense. Another example of the commission operationalizing some of that work is we might be familiar with a grant opportunity or a program or a policy. And so we bring that before the commission and say, oh, a priority through the climate action plan and through the city is to decarbonize schools. There's this grant that's available, through the Department of Energy Resources at the state, like we should apply. How can we support that application? And then OSC staff leads that application, for example, or someone else in the city.
I think that composting example is a really good one too, because like even before we started talking about it in meetings, like some of the feedback we would give is like, we're out there talking about building direct decarbonization, and the number one question we get is, where's the composting? I'm like, I wasn't here to talk about that, but okay. Like people to like, so we were able to sort of relay the voice, some of the voices from the community about the demand for compost. So on the like even before we started talking about the pilots and then afterwards, like, hey, how can we help get the word out about signing up for the pilot? You don't actually have to be in the area in Somerville to sign up, because then you get on the list and that helps to signal demand or the provide, like I said, we're able to provide connectivity as well. Oh,
You have a question. I was just gonna say, I think like, as we look towards like the Climate Action Commission and like fully kind of staffing that up, like, I think it could look, there's a lot of opportunities that you can't do with 5 people that you can do with 13 people. Like having subcommittees is like a decision that you all could make as CAC members of like, this is a focus area we really want to work on. And so then it's not just like you come once a month and like have an hour-and-a-half meeting. You can have a subcommittee that like is kind of doing project specific work and like comes back to the whole group and reports out on it. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to like make this what you want. And so like, I would say like think creatively, like that's what you can do as a Climate Action Commission. You can like write public letters to like the city council. You could write letters to the like legislature about things that are happening. You could like come up with your own project. Like it's just like there's a lot of options, and we'll have the authority of being on the Climate Action Commission for the city of Somerville behind you. And so I think there's a lot to do there.
Yeah, I was just gonna pick up on one of Stephen's points about, some of the actions or sort of ideas in the document aren't explicitly climate, or certainly not like explicitly like energy use reduction related. They get back to that sort of broader like community resiliency piece. And that's where I think, the commission as members of the community, the commission as members of multiple communities outside of this, and then the like history of the ambassadors program and the ambassador alumni and sort of all of the community members that have sat in, in this space in the literal sense or in the figurative sense, go out and sort of bring that to their other communities. That's the piece that you're speaking of around, like, it is the 80,000, members strong, that some of this is a mindset, and some of it is a sort of cultural set, if you will. And those are the pieces also that I think are really important, and part of the intentionality around ensuring we have slightly more diverse group than we do now, on the commission, is to make sure that we are getting that culture shift, feedback loop from the, all members of our community, and making sure that the work that we're doing as a commission is then feeding back into different pockets of the community that we aren't yet touching.
I will note, we'll come to you in a moment, Courtney. I'll note that we're kind of melding together these last two agenda items, and I think that's fine. So I'll just open it up to all discussion about either Somerville Climate Board or about the Climate Action Commission. Courtney, go ahead.
That's good, because I think my point. The commission spent a lot of time on kind of getting towards this plan, and when I started, we had a consultant, and it was one of my first meetings who hired to do an evaluation of all of the carbon use. What was Somerville's carbon footprint, and where was it coming from the most, and then that kind of helped inform the plan. And at the time, it was one of the, it's probably still the same, buildings had the biggest impact, which it does, we know, like globally, but even more so given the nature of Somerville. And then there was also a comment on leadership as being important, that Somerville has been one to lead the way. And those were things that seemed like the biggest piece from what we learned from the consultants, but then when it came to what was actually getting applied, I was over the last couple of years feeling confused about why we weren't, as a city, focused on the biggest hidden things. But I really appreciate this conversation now too, because I think we, as a commission and the future commission and the city, it's really helpful to understand, we're never really told what to do with the plan. We kept saying, okay, what's happening on all the goals? We're like, well, look at the spreadsheet and you'll see, or the online, you'll see what, like how complete we are, but it didn't give us the picture. So what I'm hearing, I kind of like this new vision, and we know we rewrote the ordinance to allow for more of this, but to be clear that the commission, one of our charges will be to help guide where the priorities should be. And then know that that will be something that is like well received and reflected on and help with.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just thinking about the conversation and a lot of that right with the way I mean, the way the first Climate Forward plan was done, it was a lot of effort. I remember there were, even though the commission wasn't that big, we had subcommittees that joined in on some of the conversations. But you know, there were all these consultants, and it was a pretty impressive thing. And the process for the second, this version, it's even more so. So the thing that I find is that like, for example, I haven't looked at the document for a while. And every time I decide to look at it, I go, holy cow, there's so much in here. So I think I haven't been yet paying so much attention to the concept of the dashboard, but I think things like that are really important because I think if I show it to someone, whatever, it's kind of overwhelming, you know, it's like, wow. You know, but having ways for people to not have to digest 71 actions before they understand what it's all about, but to be able to focus on, okay, I'm interested in this area, you know, to make it a little easier. I think and I think the concept of looking at it from the city point of view, the city meaning the municipality, but also the citizens, the 80,000, also makes a big difference in how, you know, each of those avenues has a lot of things that we can do that might be helpful that other people might not be able to do. So I think continuing, you know, that's why I appreciate so much the ambassador program, because I think it creates links between what all this stuff does at the municipal level and what happens with people paying attention to the one aspect or the other. The other thing that I always have found important in what the city's done and what we can do also is some of it is, I've noticed it, but also I've had conversations in some gathering or something where there are representatives from city councils in other towns that are much smaller, and they look at it and they go, wow, I wish we could, you know, we have one person that deals with half of these things, but they're dealing with budget committees and all that stuff. I wish we had, you know, and so some of us are incredibly lucky as it's Cambridge and Boston. We have all these professionals, we have incredible universities, and I think tapping into those resources as much as we can, but also keeping an eye on like, how do we do things that can then people from other communities latch on to something and sort of build on it instead of having to do, oh, we have to do our own climate action plan, you know, oh, we can't hire consultants, you know, that kind of stuff. So I think keeping that in mind can give us a lot of ideas for, you know, we think of something that's like, yeah, let's bring it on because then we can find an audience for it if we process it the right way. So, I'm excited about the commission growing a little bit or a lot. And I'm able to engage with the city, and I'm hoping we'll be able to do that with you as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. One of the things I've been thinking about is like this idea of like open source. So like, as we're doing a project or whatever, like really just show the whole process, like. And then like, you know, you're gonna get to a point in the project and be like, oh man, that was a terrible, like, that's your idea, or like, I made a mistake and like, I need to redirect, or like, whatever it may be. And just have that kind of like learned lessons.
Karen.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Again. I really appreciate this discussion because I was looking up, in preparation for the meeting, the new ordinance, or I guess it's not so new, but the ordinance for the commit change in the commission. And the function of it is obviously very broad, as it should be. But it wasn't clear to me, is the role of the commission to advise, or is it to do things? And I know that advising is doing something, but it's just, I think that maybe that's still up for discussion, and maybe when it is a larger group, maybe there is more action. I was at another commission meeting a couple weeks ago, and the committee members were planning an event. And so I think it'll be important when interviewing prospective candidates and that sort of thing to kind of have an understanding of that, so they know what the expectations would be. Is the expectation just advice, or is the expectation that you're actively going out into the community and doing things? I think that's just something that's not super clear to me yet, but maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's not clear yet, and that's good.
Yeah, thanks for that question, Karen. Personally, I think the ordinance was explicitly broad in saying like advise is one bullet and do is effectively another bullet. I think that was on purpose to allow for a range of things that the commission can do. I think historically it's been more of an advisory commission, and
Well, historically.
well, actually, historically it was a do, and then it became advised, and now we're sort of like a little bit of both is probably within the remit, and I don't know, like I don't know how that will evolve. It could evolve in like some members are like the do members and some are the advised members, or it could be like there's like everybody's doing a little bit of both, and I don't know. I'm open to sort of like getting 13 people in a room and just following people's passions on what interests them the most. So that's, I think, a little bit of both.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the conversation we are having a little while ago about the subcommittees is a really good one, because it is a lot easier to get things done between meetings when you have a nimble team and clear direction. And we haven't been able to do that because of quorum and open meeting and whatnot. But again, as the commission historian, the commission started as like a real staff augmentation, when, to your point, there was one staff member and he was only a part-time staff member on climate related sustainability. So, we did all the grant work and we did all of the heavy lifting, and then, OSE professionalized, and, they had capacity and technical expertise beyond the commission, and that was great. But part of, I think, what this next era of the commission is to figure out our identity and how we can be most helpful. And is it on sort of some components of technical advice? Is it on engagement and outreach, which I think is sort of what we've done most recently in terms of the doing role? Or is it, sort of technical subcommittees augmented by or complemented by engagement and advice? I think they're all on the table, and it's figuring out, what particular challenge are we tackling in this, 6-month period, and what is needed most to support it.
I feel like we're like this is a timeshare sales.
So, just to add, without repeating too much, I also agree that, compared to the first rounds of when I was in the commission to now, I mean, OSC for one thing has just grown, and it has like an incredible talent mass that wasn't there before, so, we're not working full-time for the city or something like that, we don't have the resource, but, so that, what I think is, given that we have great staff leading all these initiatives, is finding ways that, how can we help particular ones, you know, maybe not all the time, but periodically there'll be things that come up, and like tapping into the commission's resources for a few months for some initiative that's really getting underway or that's going but needs a little push. So I think being flexible is, you know, the best way to tap into the resources, because everybody not gonna have the same availability of time, so it's.
Yeah, and I think we want to respect that as well. You know, letting people contribute the ways that they're most. Yeah,
But you can contribute without being one of the commission people or the official positions, like anyone can do this.
Yeah. Historically, that's been true. Sort of in the pandemic period, we didn't get much engagement other than the people who did show up on Zoom, but you know, would love to see commission meetings become broader and participation become. We used to have subcommittees that were part commission members and part community members of that kind of not a lot of money into this.
It's a vehicle that tap into.
And we have some stake, I don't know. Go ahead.
So what kind of resources are you bringing to when you say the resources push through like these kinds of policy actions?
It varies enormously.
Well, so the commission does not have a formal budget per se, but OSC obviously has a budget, so within the, I don't know how you would characterize, but within the, how, OSC is allocated its budget, in pursuit of, like a board plan, like I assume that there's some sort of budget we could tap into.
Well,
Is that true?
I'd like to push Brandon's question a little further. Historically, how receptive has the city been to recommendations from the commission? The commission is pretty unified around the merits of this. This is an approach that would really work, but this is going to cost us some money. How receptive has the city been for that? And looking forward with the new administration, so what are your hopes and expectations on these things?
Can I give an example?
Please.
So I think it has depended on who has the administration, you know, which mayor it has been under. I started under the previous mayor Valentine. And in that I was advocating and other commissioners as well, specifically around decarbonizing schools. And it was a combination of like listening, and they would set up meetings, and I would meet with a broad range of people and different departments, OSCD, the infrastructure and asset management, capital projects, and we intergovernmental affairs, and we'd like talk through things. But at times it only went so far. But then I've noticed with the change in administration, things that we've been talking about previously had been heard and are now moving forward. So I think that it kind of depends on the topic and the moment and whatever else is happening in the, you know, this, that the city as a government is working on and what resources they have and the leader. So I personally feel a shift happening right now that feels really good to me, that I'm excited about what, you know, what's gonna happen going forward. It's my perspective.
That's good to hear.
I mean, I would just add that even when Climate Forward was being conceived and developed and all that, like we didn't sit down and write chapters or, you know, there were professionals but we were definitely part of the engagement of along the way, at each step of the way, at least that's what I remember, helping the discussion shape, you know, priorities or, I don't know, like it's been a while now, but even something as concrete as that, or more vague kind of interactions had an impact on how we develop and what was in it, that kind of stuff. But we didn't keep notes necessarily on this is what we did.
Yeah, I mean, like the commission's earliest name when I joined it was called the Mayor's Commission for Energy Use and Climate Change. And so we were the mayor under Curtis Tony's advisory committee on climate. And once a year, we'd meet and we'd sit around a table and we'd talk about our priorities and his priorities and sort of, what we could do on climate. And one year, the table was a very frustrating conversation in which one of the commissioners was like, no one in the city government is talking to each other. You have someone over here planning budgets and doing procurement, and you've got someone over here, doing roads, and they won't let us fix gas leaks, and someone over here. And the mayor was like, okay, what what needs to happen? And the commission hosted a systems sort of thinking focus group session, and all the different departments came, and we found a facilitator to do it. And they basically were like, okay, how does everyone need to talk about this one, 2 or 3 pilot issues that we picked out? And he was really receptive to it. And it felt really great to this was a very concrete set of few issues. We wanted to sort of see how it would play out. Did it change how the city government ran? No, but it was, it was an interesting, it changed some things, right? And it was a really interesting exercise to think how, this sort of systems thinking approach or model could be used for an issue that touched so many different disciplines. Now, the thinking has changed, drastically in the last 15 years about how sort of climate touches every aspect of the city government. But I do think that this administration is going to be open to hearing, from us in a way that I think, the Curtatone, I think there's a lot of opportunity, and I think it's about figuring out where we have the most value add and the most leverage, and where we can, work with the professionals of the city to sort of give them, support. So I do think there's a lot of opportunity for this new commission to come in, figure out the identity and the priorities, and then, I think we have a good relationship with the city, and they trust that we're not going to just, throw bombs or, not contribute meaningfully to things. Like, we pushed the city to become a green community. We filled out the application ourselves. We were one of the earliest green communities, that DOER recognized. A lot of those initial things were done because the commission pushed them along.
And one angle of that in the last couple of years I've noticed a lot is that I remember years earlier there'll be discussions about what's going on in OSC, in the city, and a lot of conversation kind of highlighted that, well, OSC is doing all this great stuff as it's growing, but the Department of Public Works doesn't really engage that much, or this other one. And in the last year or two, I've noticed in a lot of meetings where we ask a question or something, and the answer from OSC is like, oh, we're meeting regularly, So it's no longer like, okay, once in a while, if there's something important, what are you guys doing? So, that there's engagement. I don't know if I don't know how well distributed it is, but I think that's really important, because just like engaging through the ambassadors with the community allows the spread of things, the same thing for OSC, for its work to be as impactful as it can be, it needs to have all the branches of the city engaged, as a collaborative. So I think I find it really hopeful that with the growth of OSC, that's changing as well. And I think that the potential is huge, So
I would totally agree. That's one of the reasons why I'm here. Every single thing that happens across the city as a municipal government, and also everything that happens across the city as in our community, touches on sustainability in some way. It touches on the climate work plan in some way. And our role as a group within the larger city government is to work with all the other different departments who are doing things within the built environment, doing their own program development, or whatever program or project they may be happening, and be there to support them through that and make sure that it complies with the climate forward plan. And so, like, this commission, really acts as, one of the main strategic stakeholders and advisors to make sure that we're doing that. And, to Karen's question, like, if that also means that you, as a group, want to go off and do, some project a couple times a year, then, and you think that may help move the needle, then great, we can definitely do that.
Does that help? Answer? Both of us, I know, I didn't give you a word number, but.
You did call out your, quite reason.
We're blessedly left in the dark on budget
Yeah.
topics,
Yeah.
so we don't, other than when it's budget season and we have just to hear the sidelines, but we're not kept in the loop on.
My goal is that when we're, there's many different, there's projects that we're gonna have, for sure. But there's also initiatives that we have that are sort of multi-year, we don't know what the specific projects are gonna happen within those. But what it is gonna do is whenever we do something like that, it is gonna take away from our staff time and our focus on other things. And so like, I would love to be able to come and present and say, here's some initiatives and here's some things that we're looking at. What do you all think about that? And because it can't just be like, go do a project and finish it, and go do a project and finish it, or do a project and finish it. So this commission will really help inform that. And my hope is that we're really all here, whether you're on staff with the department or whether we're here, as advisors with this commission. We've all still chosen to spend our time together to talk about this thing. So like, let's utilize that as much as we possibly can.
So we are at 8:30. And seeing no other questions, hopefully we should set our next meeting, which is Tuesday, April 13th. Right?
14th.
14th, is it?
We typically meet the second Tuesday of the month.
I was guessing.
Mhm.
Does that work? It's not gonna work for you.
You wanna bring a newborn to the commission? Babies for salary.
There's a baby position on it.
Maximum diversity.
Yeah. Gotta build your resume early these days,
Was it the 14th?
14th of April, Ramon, Courtney. Yeah, all looks good. Okay, let's go for it. So if that works for you.
I'm here always for you.
Yeah. And Jason, hopefully that works for you as well.
Really impressive.
But that will be remote.
Good question. Do we want to try to continue to meet hybrid or should we switch back to remote?
I think hybrid is hard. I think we should either try to all be in person or all be remote. It's really hard
Yeah.
when we're like hybrid, in my opinion. So I'm happy to do like every other. I'm happy to do it in person until
the summer
doesn't, or but I feel like we should try to sync up at least as commissioners, whether we're gonna be there in person.
So are you available in person? In person? Not sure.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I have a community meeting for something else at 6. It's virtual.
I see.
So I don't know if I could probably make it to a remote meeting at 7.
Let's call the April meeting remote then.
Yeah,
okay.
Seems reasonable.
That's fine.
Okay.
All right.
I know we have the one any and all business in front of the commission as the last one. Do we have that? Did you raise the note taking?
No.
Can we pin it for next time then? Is there any chance that we can see the administration's new perspective on note taking? Like particularly if it's gonna be a virtual meeting, like can we try AI note taking?
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything.
I'm
about
looking
this,
at
but-
city staff. Okay.
We discussed it about a year ago and sort of decided the environmental impact of AI in general was probably not that it's calculable at this point, but there's probably enough of a consideration that we would not do AI note taking and frankly, the Zoom AI note taking is probably the lightest bit of AI. I mean, that's like AI. So,
I just think it makes it much easier. I mean, you've done it, you can speak on it, like it makes it much easier to participate in the meeting if you're not saddled with note taking. And because we publish such minimal notes anyways, it would be very easy to see whether we could
And we make the
Awesome.
recordings available.
And we make the
for
recording
public,
available.
So.
So,
Yeah.
order staff.
So just to clarify, the ask is to be able to use an AI agent to take notes for the meeting.
Yeah.
Or see staff person.
Okay.
Which I think it-
found 3 months ago, when I was taking notes, the conversation was going in many directions and it was hard to like, I don't know where it's gonna end up, I have to take notes.
I could like do nearly verbatim because
Right,
I
but-
don't know where it's gonna
But I
go.
remember when, at that time, I don't know if they all come out that way, when the video recording of it was available, it came with these scripts that were actually better than I anticipated in terms of like summarizing in the right order, the big picture, and then
There's
by
so much
section, the summary,
Do you want somebody to do a life cycle analysis calculation to see how
Yeah.
expensive that is?
More expensive it is?
In grams of carbon dioxide?
Might be micrograms,
Like
right?
per meeting, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
especially if it's built into what's going
Yeah.
on.
Are you offering to do that?
It's something that I have done.
Oh, I
Okay.
Interesting. The point is, if it's something we could consider, I think there would be enthusiasm for it.
Yeah.
great, I will find clarity on that.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to, oh, so, sorry, meeting adjourned, thank you very much for coming.
We need to like vote on that? No.
Did you guys already approve the meeting?
Yes.
I think.
These are a lot more interesting than we were spending